Hi guys, as I promised I was going to do a quick video on the Hengen Transitions that was a little bit more in detail than the one we did on the warm-up video that I sent out. So this is kind of a longer clip that I did, kind of walks through it a little bit more for people that might have forgotten how to do each of the transitions. Still very dirty, but it should be hopefully helpful to some people. Thanks. Alright, so next we're going to do is we call Hengen Transitions. This is another very fundamental drill we do, transitioning between our hanging positions, the upper Hengen and the lower Hengen. We don't just do a Vinden, we do a lot of different little transitions. It's okay if you've never done these before, we'll walk through them. First we're going to do is start with our hanging positions. And this Hengen, again, I'm using my messer here because I'm inside and I've got a low roof. So starting with my hanging position, I'm going to use this two-handed, like a long sword, but so I'm in my hanging positions. I've got my two lower hangers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in my thumb grip. So I've got my sword turned, so I'm in my thumb grip. My two lower hanging positions here. Now my feet, I'm not worrying about my feet, I'm just kind of taking balancing steps as I do these. And I start doing this transition. I think one of the important things when you're in these lower hangers is that you pull, the shoulders move with that hanger. You'll notice that as I move to the left, my left shoulder pulls back, and as I move to my right shoulder pulls back. And it's not a wide motion, right? It's just a little bit. It allows me to keep good, strong arms. It pulls the shoulder out. If I'm defending on this side, it pulls that shoulder out of the way a little bit. My tip of my sword floats in the air in front of me as I do this, and I'm making this transition flat out as I do each side. My thumb is still always back toward me as I'm doing these. Very basic kind of transition. From here we move to the upper transitions. I'm transitioning from this position to this upper hanger here. In this upper hanger, what I'm doing is I'm taking that thumb where I've got that flat, and I'm taking where the thumb is normally on my inside, and I'm turning it so now my thumb is underneath. It's a lot more subtle of a motion than a lot of new people want to try. Taking that flat, that inside flat, turning it down. You can imagine that you're making a circle in the air as you do these transitions between these four positions. And as you're making this kind of circle in the air, your thumb stays on the inside of that circle the entire time. We got one on this side with crossed arms. We got one on this side with open arms. And we transition between these. And we start just transitioning not just in that circle, but across. As I'm doing this, the motion of that transition is really done with that left hand. It's the left hand pushing and pulling that pobble in and out from underneath. So get used to that transition using that left hand and not using that right hand. The right hand stays very loose in this whole motion, as the left does most of the work. As I'm transitioning, this is the very beginning. We start with these. This is just our basic Vinden. Transitioning by turning the sword, our basic turning. From there we move to horizontal transitions. Horizontal transitions, our blade is going to come straight around from one position, horizontally behind the head and back around to the front. And start moving the feet. If you want to do triangle steps, you can do triangle steps with these. If you don't have to, you can just do traverses. If you really want to work on just the hips and body, you can just get the hips motion into it just to kind of warm the hips still. So it's good to get used to, solid stepping like you should. The next transition we do is a diagonal transition. This one is new people especially have a hard time with. We start with our sword in one of the hand. What I'm going to do is this sword is going to be doing kind of a circular motion on this side. I'm going to be circling around the bottom and back around the top. This kind of is the beginning motion of this, is this circular motion like this. I'm going to let this sword come down, but instead of circling back on the same side, I'm going to cross my hands. Again, slow. Let it come down, cross my hands. Come down, cross. When I'm in the cross side too, I can do the exact same thing. In my cross position, I'll let my sword coming over, it's going to be making this motion on this side. Let it come down, then uncross. It's long edge, short edge. Long edge, short edge. Crossed, uncrossed. Crossed, and then cross. And I'm stepping with my feet to keep my balance, as I should when doing this. If you want to get going in, you can kind of do all of them together, but it's good, I think, to keep these distinct cuts. Just get used to that transition. Do some from this side. Those are our diagonal transitions. Next we have Unterhauen, which is kind of a stretch, but it's okay. It's not really what we think of as a traditional Unterhauen, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one of my hanging. Now, instead of coming around on this side here, I'm going to take that tip and that hanging, I'm going to bring it straight back. Just lift that tip back, up, down from below for that cut. Obviously, I didn't put any martial effort into that, that's okay. Let me do it from this side. I'm just going to bring that tip straight back, down from below. Pull it straight back, down from below. Do it on both sides as well, so you're on the hanging. On the cross side as well. On the cross side, I'm going to use my short edge. So I'm going to cross arms, pull it straight back, down from below. And for these, I'm going to keep this transition going. So I'm going to poke this way, and that side, that side, that side. So just keep that motion going. Again, I'm not even really doing real cuts with these. And that's the thing about this is we're not really doing cutting practice. We have a whole series of things we do when we really want to do cutting practice. This is not them. This is really just getting that body in that motion. In fact, I tell it to them not as cuts. I teach it to people as transitions. This is what we're thinking of as still. It's still our warm-up. We're still doing it just for fundamental beginners. So it's this and that. This and that. Once you've done those, what we're going to do is go ahead and do a mix. Do a combination of any of these you want to do. Horizontals, Winden, from below, from above, and just kind of keep that transition going. Make sure that you're doing it slow at first. Make sure your feet are working the way they should, and just kind of keep that moving. And that's it.